Hello and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga Match Day 17. Plenty of action this week in Germany. 4 games already on Tuesday. If there's no, Ronan allow us also to watch Bundesliga games and to watch goals as we did in Munich. 8 goals to start the year. Not bad.
Yeah, so what a start for the year to Bayern Munich.
I cannot hear you, Ronan. You press some button. No. Let's try it.
Now, any good?
Now, yes.
Hey, yeah, I could have been saying anything. Sorry to all our listeners there. I don't know what's happened. But yeah, what a start to the year for Bayern Munich. We did say it in the last show that maybe they would start the year off like they finished the previous year, and that is exactly what happened. But I don't think anyone was expecting 8 goals against Wolfsburg. Maybe against some of the smaller teams in the league with Wolfsburg. They don't usually concede 8 to Bayern Munich, so what a start to the year. And they're up to 63 goals already for the season, and it's not even the halfway stage. This weekend, or this midweek matches, these are the halfway stage of the league.
Well, let's see what we have this week. Of course, guys, remember to leave your comments as you are doing right now, or ask any question to Ronan Murphy. And now let's go on with the show. Well, already 4 games this Tuesday, and probably the best of them is this one, Stuttgart Frankfurt, because Stuttgart 5th in the standings, level on points with Leipzig and Leverkusen after smashing Leverkusen 4-1 away in the last game, and Frankfurt only 3 points away from Stuttgart. They drew the last 2 games, only 1 win in the last 5 in the Bundesliga. That's why, Ronan, the bookies are placing Stuttgart really favorite, but I guess we shouldn't rule out Frankfurt for this game.
Yeah, and you saw the way Frankfurt kind of played at the weekend against Borussia Dortmund. They showed that they were able to get back among the goals again. So these are 2 teams that we expect maybe lots of goals from, and I think that's where you kind of have to look, because it's a bit hard to say the 1-2 market, because I think the bookies are favouring Stuttgart a bit too much. They may be looking back at the first half of this season a bit strongly, or maybe looking at Frankfurt's defensive inconsistencies. But what we see of Frankfurt is that they have plenty of players able to score goals. 𝐿 obviously is back among the goals. We mentioned 𝗵𝗏𝗏 in the previous show that he could be a good option as an anytime goal scorer, but I wasn't willing to make that risk in the previous show because it was going to be his debut for Eintracht Frankfurt. But he scored on his debut, and what a start he's had. I think he can be a very good player, a great goal scorer for them for the second half of the season. And the coach has said they actually have 4 different options for centre forward in this upcoming match, and they might even try a strike partnership in this one, so that could cause plenty of goals. I am looking at 𝗵𝗏𝗏 to maybe continue that scoring streak, because he scored so many in the second division with Elversberg before he made this transfer. So I do like the look of him as an anytime goal scorer, because it's so high. It's 385 or 355, I think, somewhere between the 2 of them, depending on when you look around. So yeah, it could be a good option as an anytime goal scorer in this one. Stuttgart, like you said, they scored so many goals in the previous game. They started to see the new year kind of on fire. Can they do it again? Maybe they can get plenty of goals. The 4-0 at halftime was only the second time in their Bundesliga history that they've actually been leading 4-0 at the break. So it was the perfect kind of first 45 minutes for them. Obviously, they lost the second half, if you put it that way. So maybe there are doubts for them. But these are 2 teams that like to score lots of goals. Goals scored for them is averaging 1.8 for Stuttgart, 2.1 for Frankfurt. Obviously, a lot of them near the start of the season, but they've showed us to begin this year that they can score lots of goals again. So over 2.5 goals has happened 64% of the time for Stuttgart, 71% of the time for Frankfurt. So I like the look of total goals over 3 in this one. That's 181. So if it does exactly come back at 3, make sure you get your money back.
Indeed, it looks like a game with goals. Also, our smart bet tool, apart from corners, is going for over 2.5 goals. This is only 1.6. And also, you can see the odds for double chance X2 for Eintracht. Konstantinos is actually going also for Eintracht double chance. 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐷𝗀𝗀 draw is also possible. Really good odds if we aim for a surprise. But of course, with Frankfurt in the pitch, we should see goals. Next one is Dortmund, Werder Bremen, also on Tuesday, 3-3 for Dortmund against Frankfurt, as you mentioned before. A lot of hit and miss recently with Dortmund. They beat Gladbach in the last home game, but still, I don't think they are as sharp as at the beginning of the season. But of course, Bremen winless in 5, couldn't beat Augsburg in the relegation battle. So not sure if an easy one, Ronan, but the 3 points should stay in Dortmund.
Yeah, you think they would, but I don't think it's going to be, like you said, I don't think it's going to be an easy victory for Borussia Dortmund, because they have been making things difficult for them at times. They made things very difficult for them to pick up that point against Frankfurt at the weekend. So, yeah, they took until the 96th minute to rescue a draw. They had 3 different goal scorers. They're kind of not 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏, who was kind of their star man, definitely last season and maybe at times earlier this season. He's kind of gone off the boil a little, so he hasn't been scoring the goals that maybe they expect. Good sign that 𝗵𝐵𝐵𝐴𝐷𝗀𝗀 did get among the goals. He is a young forward that they have a lot of hopes for. But yeah, this is a team that I think they know where they stand at the moment. And 𝐜𝐿_𝐴𝐴𝐷𝗀𝐿 in the pre-match press conference for this match kind of indicated just as much. He said, we cannot challenge Bayern. I think everyone can know that. He said at the start of the season that we want to secure top 4 as quickly as possible. So that was what Borussia Dortmund's aim is in the Bundesliga this season, just to finish in the top 4. Picking up points against the likes of Werder Bremen is exactly how you do it. They need to win here. But if you look at the past matches between the two sides, it's not one where Borussia Dortmund have dominated. The most common result is 2-1. The most common result in Dortmund is 2-1. Both matches last season were actually draws. They didn't even win either of them last season. The one in March 2025, so the previous match to the ones last season, that was a 2-1 win for Borussia Dortmund as well. Correct score 2-1 here. I like to look at it 8.50. I know it's very specific, but I think Bremen can keep this one close because they haven't been as bad maybe as the table suggests. They have been staying in matches. They haven't really been been allowed themselves to be dominated by teams. And Borussia Dortmund, they're not Bayern Munich, like 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐷𝗀𝗀 has said. They're not going to beat anybody 8-1. So it could be a 1-goal game. And for that reason, I like Bremen Asian handicap plus 1.5 at 188.
Okay, another close one. More problems for Dortmund. 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐷𝗀𝗀 going for the opposite, actually. Dortmund Asian handicap -1. Konstantinos 𝗵𝗂𝗀 to score. What happened to 𝗵𝗂𝗀, Ronan? 5 goals only this season.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those form things. I think he's just out of form at the moment. Borussia Dortmund is probably set up a bit differently in attack this season. They've kind of, it's not as kind of reliant on 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 as it was previously. And when 𝐜𝐿_𝐴𝐷𝗀𝗀 first came in, I think there's more dynamism in the attack, as you saw from, like I said, there was 3 different scorers, but 𝗂𝗏𝗏 isn't getting into the same positions because he's not being given those same positions, because I think they're using Adeyemi or Bayer a bit more in the attack, and it's not solely reliant on 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 anymore. So it is giving Borussia Dortmund maybe a different dimension up front, but then it's stopping those easy bets that we had last season of 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 anytime goal score every week, and it came in 9 or 10 weeks in a row. Yeah.
Well, let's go with the other games we have on Tuesday. Is Hamburg Leverkusen. Next one, Leverkusen 4th in the standings, risking their Champions League spots after losing to Stuttgart. They won against Leipzig and Cologne before that. And Hamburg is not an easy ground to go because all their points, they are getting them at home. Really decent results. It's only 1 defeat in the last 7 home games, so it shouldn't be an easy trip for Leverkusen, this one, Ronan.
No, and I think they'll be licking their wounds after that result they had against Stuttgart. I think Hamburg themselves, it was a disappointing result at the weekend for them. They were kind of hoping that they could beat Freiburg, but they had Daniel 𝗛𝗏𝗏 sent off when they were winning 1-0 just at the start of the second half, and he'll obviously miss this game because he's suspended. So yeah, they were leading, and 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗏 was the player who scored the goal for them, and he is the second youngest Hamburg player to score 3 Bundesliga goals in the season after Son Heung-min. So yeah, he is kind of lighting up the league, and he's lighting up the league if you are a fan of Hamburg and voted in the Bundesliga Player of the Season so far award, which he won ahead of Harry Kane because, yeah, it was a fan vote rather than anything else. So Hamburg fans look to have fixed that. So he would win, and he is, yeah, if you want to know who the Player of the Season in the first half of the season so far, it's, 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗏 of Hamburg, which is probably not the most expected thing, but that's what happens when you let the fans vote. Yeah, so Hamburg have a huge support, and you always see that in Hamburg, that's at the Volkspark Stadium. Like you said, that's why they have most of their points at home. But Leverkusen, I think they have just too much quality. I know they didn't really show it in the match of the weekend, but they have shown it at various times through the season. I don't think we're going to start the second half of the season with Leverkusen pulling the trigger on their coach like they started the first half of the season. So this is the first meeting since 2018. They have not played in the cup or anything recently, so we don't have much to go off in past meetings. But I think Leverkusen on paper, I like the look of Leverkusen at 2.13, so I'm just going to go for that, I think.
Well, in the home standings, Hamburg are 7th with 14 points, only 4 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats. So really good numbers for Hamburg playing at home. Xabi Alonso should go back to Leverkusen. I don't think this is happening. I can see him in the Premier League. Leverkusen to win and both teams to score. For 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏, draw also possible. And the last game we have on Tuesday is Mainz, Heidenheim, the worst 2 teams in the Bundesliga. But Mainz are doing better recently. They are undefeated in the last 5 in all competitions. Drew with Berlin, with Union Berlin, with St. Pauli, with Bayern Munich. Heidenheim also were able to draw against Cologne. Ronan, yes, Mainz have improved in the last games, but now it's time for a win, and they are winless at home. So I'm not sure if we should take this 1.8, although at one point they should win, also playing at home.
Yeah, you would imagine they have to win at some stage, and this seems to be the most likely time for them to win. But as you've seen, they're drawing a lot of games recently, and we had some good predictions in the Union Berlin game. Mainz double chance of both teams to score. Yes, both worked because it was a 2-2. Heidenheim drew to Cologne at the weekend, like you said. That was also 2-2. So for some reason, I'm very tempted here by correct score 2-2, because that's what's been happening recently. It is at 18 at the moment, because these are 2 teams that will be very hard to separate them. They are 2 kind of nervous at the back teams, which could cause some kind of dodgy goals, or some goals where maybe set pieces will be what determines this match. It could be corners and free kicks and things like that. Could be what the way to one team might come out on top in this match. That's what Urs Fischer, the Mainz boss, said before the match. He said, I think it will be a balanced game. Small details could decide the match. Set pieces will be especially important again, like they were against Union Berlin. He was saying Mainz have had 3 draws in a row in the league, 4 draws in a row in all competitions. So I think this one kind of has a draw written all over it. 3.90 looks tasty for that one.
Well, a draw, in your opinion, always really high odds. Also, 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 is likely in the draw for this one, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, German league, all games are over 2.5 goals. Indeed, we always see a lot of goals, a lot of both teams to score, and this is always a good option when betting in the Bundesliga. Let's go with the games on Wednesday. Wolfsburg, St. Pauli is the first one. Also important, this one, for the relegation battle, because we have St. Pauli 12 points, bottom 3, level on points with Heidenheim, and Wolfsburg not much better, only 3 points ahead after getting that 8-1 against Bayern. If you don't want to go for 1x2, Ronan, last 8 games for Wolfsburg, all of them, both teams to score.
Yeah, both teams to score, like you're saying, is always a great bet in the Bundesliga. Over 2.5 goals, always a good bet too, because the Bundesliga has the fewest draws of the top 5 leagues and the highest amount of goals. So the average is well over 3. So yeah, they're usually high-scoring games. They're usually entertaining games. I suppose if the average goal is more than 3, 2-1 seems to be the most common result. Then is the most likely to have both teams score. Not necessarily going to go for that one here because I saw what Wolfsburg were like at the weekend against Bayern Munich. I did not get to see what St. Pauli were like because that match was postponed. It was one of the 2 postponed matches this weekend because of the snow in Hamburg. But yeah, Wolfsburg have not been very good at home. They've only one home win. Pauli have not been good on the road. Only one away win. If you look at last season, both of the matches were draws. The most common result is 1-1. The most common result in Wolfsburg was 1-1. These teams are not scoring plenty of goals either. Goals scored average is only 1.5 versus 0.9. So for this one, I try to see what the robots were thinking. Maybe that could be the best way to go. Sometimes, what's the smart bet on for? So this one, it was given 5 stars last night. I think it's the same again this morning for a first half draw at 2.35. I really like to look at that. I think this is going to be a low scoring game, but unlike everything I said before about the games being high scoring matches. But I think this one could be because these are 2 teams kind of struggling a small bit at the moment. We didn't get to see how St. Pauli would start the year because of the snow, and we saw how Wolfsburg started the year, but it's Bayern Munich, so you can write that one off. I think it just 8-1 was a bit too much to write off, perhaps. So yeah, first half draw. I'm going to go with the robots this time.
Let's trust the robots and always say thank you and please, of course, to the robots. We never know what is going to happen. Both teams to score. For Jay, for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, hello, Jimmy from North Carolina. Next one is Cologne, Bayern Munich. What a feast for Bayern Munich. 8-1 is 63 goals scored in the last 16 games. Only in the last 2, 8 against Wolfsburg, 4 in the previous one against Heidenheim. Cologne, 5 points away from the bottom 3, falling in the table. Well, Ronan, what to say about Bayern? I'm eager to see them in the big games this season in the Champions League. We did in Paris, we did against Arsenal, but I really hope they have a good run this season in the knockout stages in the Champions League. Still a couple of months to prepare, or 1.5 months to prepare for this special game, because now they are just smashing every team in Germany.
Yeah, and I think injuries could be the biggest problem in this latter half of the season. So we kind of have to see how they balance the squad in these Bundesliga games that are expected to win. Because if you look at the players involved in the goals against Wolfsburg, it was kind of everybody. We said before the match that Michael Olise would be a good anytime assist option, but it seemed that everybody was a good anytime assist or anytime goal scorer option in that one because they just scored so many goals. And Luis Diaz as well, he scored a goal. He got 3 assists, so he's now taken himself to over 10 goals and over 10 assists so far this season for Bayern Munich. So what a signing he's been. But like you said, it's when the more difficult teams come to town, when they get to play the Champions League and the knockout stage. I know they were good in the league phase so far, but the big test is the knockout stage of the Champions League, because that's what Vincent Kompany will be judged on, because it won't be whether he's broken the goal scoring record in the Bundesliga. That would be nice to do. I think they're on target for it, but we will see at the end of the season whether Bayern as a team will break the record and whether Harry Kane will break the record. Because if Kane continues on his current goals per game average, yeah, I think he'll be 2 ahead of Robert Lewandowski if he's fit for every match. So yeah, keeping these players fit is hugely important. And same for Cologne, keeping their players fit is important for them to kind of get a good result. So 𝐷𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he is their star man. He now has 7 Bundesliga goals. That's the second youngest player to reach that mark for Cologne. After, like every time we talk about 𝐴𝐿 being the youngest for Cologne, it's after Lucas Podolski. It's everything's kind of coming after Lucas Podolski. So he is their kind of cult hero, and they're hoping that 𝐴𝐿 will stay around because he's been linked to clubs, including Liverpool this January window. They don't expect a transfer in January, but he's been linked to clubs with a potential of a summer move. So they need him to stay fit because he is such a kind of star among their team at the moment, and he is one of the reasons why they're doing well this season. If you look at the last 8 years between these 2 teams, Bayern Munich have won nearly everything, 11 wins. There's only been 1 draw. There's only been 1 Cologne win. I do not think Cologne are going to win here, despite the very tempting 11.6 odds I'm seeing on screen. Bayern won 4-1 in the cup in October. So yeah, in Cologne, so in the same venue, it was a 4-1 win for Bayern Munich. It wasn't the strongest Bayern Munich team. They didn't play all their kind of superstars in that one. I'm not sure they will either in this one. So I'm not going to definitely say you should bet on 𝗲𝗏𝗍𝐴 to assist or 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝐿 to assist, because there is a chance that some of these players might be rested, and the matches. It's kind of a midweek match with a weekend match coming up, and then they have the Champions League next week, like you said. So games are coming thick and fast for Bayern Munich. Bayern to score in both halves, I like the look of at 165, and I like Bayern Munich. So halftime, full time Bayern Munich 180. I like both of those.
Well, I think they conceded first actually in that game in the cup in Cologne, so it was not that straight forward, but still Bayern to score over 1.5 goals in the second half. Harry Kane to score 2 goals. 𝗲𝗏𝗍𝒂, anytime goal scorer. Of course, you have to be creative to find good odds. Bayern should concentrate in the Champions League. I think they are gonna do it. Indeed, my girlfriend will leave me if I place another bet. Then it's up to you. Maybe you want your girlfriend to leave you, or maybe not. Up to you. But yeah, Bayern is always a safe bet. Hoffenheim-Gladbach is the next one. Hoffenheim so close to the top 4, only 2 points away. One of the surprises in Germany, didn't play the last game and drew with Stuttgart. Before that, really good numbers, also playing at home. Gladbach mid-table. Ronan, if we check Hoffenheim playing at home, well, actually it's not that good. They are way better away from home. At home, 4 wins and 3 defeats, no draws yet.
Yeah, this is a team with kind of mixed season, but having a brilliant season, especially on the road, like you said. Gladbach, I think they showed us what they can do. They've been a kind of an improved team maybe this season. They've been more consistent than they have been in previous seasons. So I think this is a team that's very good themselves on the road. They are 8 in the away table. So yeah, this is a team I think that can win matches and pick up points away. They've won away last season and drew at home. So against Hoffenheim, they kind of have the recent meetings. They're the better team there. A Gladbach win at 4.16. I think that could be a decent option. That's going very strongly against Constantinos in the comments, who was saying Hoffenheim minus 1.5 Asian handicap. That's a big difference from what I'm saying. But if you could get on the Gladbach Asian handicap plus 1.5, maybe go for that one. But the smart bet, 5 stars, it's going for here. I'm going with the robots again. I do think that sometimes AI can be helpful in our jobs. If you can get it to do your job when your boss isn't looking, maybe that's the way to go. But yeah, my boss is looking here, and he will see that I'm giving AI a shout out. But we are pro AI at times here. So smart bet 5 stars is Gladbach double chance at 2. I think they could pick up a point or all 3 points here.
All right, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is going also for the opposite, for Hoffenheim to win and both teams to score. And also on Wednesday, we have RB Leipzig, Freiburg. Leipzig third with 29 points. So also the Champions League spot is in trouble. Their game was postponed and lost the previous 2 Bundesliga games against Leverkusen and Union Berlin. Freiburg improving after a tough start of the season. Only 6 points between these 2 teams. So maybe we could see also a surprise here.
I think perhaps the snow game might be helping RB Leipzig. I know that they lost the chance to get 3 points, or they've delayed the chance to get that 3 points that they would have hoped to get against St. Pauli, but it should mean that they're even more rested. So they've had a longer winter break than all but one other team in the Bundesliga, or all but 3 other teams in the Bundesliga, I should say. But yeah, so I think that could play into their hands. I think it could help them. It also helps them the fact that the African Cup of Nations, Jan Diomande has been knocked out of the African Cup of Nations. Leipzig decided to arrange specific transport so he would get back in time for this match. He was back in Leipzig so he could do some small training yesterday. He should play in this match this week. So yeah, in midweek. So they are hugely hopeful that he can be fit, he could play the full 90 minutes, because obviously if Ivory Coast had stayed in the African Cup of Nations, that he would be playing in the semi-final, maybe the final, if they were able to get that far. And he lit up the African Cup of Nations the same way he lit up the Bundesliga in the first half of the season. He completed the most take-ons in the competition before, as far as they were in it. He completed the most double take-ons in the competition as well. So after dribbling past one player, he decided he'll dribble past another player in the tournament. So he's been doing that for RB Leipzig all season. It's a huge boost to have him back for this one. If you look at the two meetings between the sides, Leipzig have won 7 of the last 8 meetings. The previous match that we had in March, that was an all draw. Freiburg did win at the weekend, but they were losing 1-0 before Hamburg got that red card, so that changed the game totally. I think Leipzig can win this one. So Leipzig win at 185.
Okay, you don't see a surprise here. Also, Constantinos see Leipzig half-time, full-time win, and over 1.5 goals. So 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐴 1x and both things to score. Then no one sees Freiburg getting a point here. Only the robots, smart bet, going for a double chance, 2.14. I also think we might see a surprise here. We can talk about it on Thursday, Ronan, because we have another live video, by the way, on Thursday. So stay tuned. Check out what Smart Bet is thinking there. Double chance for Freiburg. And for Thursday, apart from our live show about the next match day in the Bundesliga, we have also Augsburg, Union Berlin, with, Augsburg close to the relegation spots, only 2 points more than Pauli and Heidenheim. Union Berlin are having a good season. They are in mid-table. Union drew with Mainz, beat Cologne and Leipzig, and Augsburg haven't scored in the last 3 games.
Yeah, they haven't scored, but they are a team that usually kind of has before those matches, that were tending to have plenty of goals in the games. Over 2.5 goals has happened in 53% of the matches. Amazingly, for Union Berlin, who are a team who we usually consider a quite defensive team, who play maybe some of the less entertaining matches in the Bundesliga, there's a 68% of their matches so far this season have had over 2.5 goals. Union obviously drew 2 all at Mainz at the weekend, so that tick that box. Union actually have over 3.5 goals in 47% of the games. So nearly half the time their matches have 4 or more goals, which is a big surprise for Union Berlin. They're giving us plenty of entertainment this season, which we hadn't seen in the past. Long may that continue. Yes, I think draw could be a good option here from 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐴. But if we look at what the smart bet is going for, 5 stars is going for total goals over 1.5. That's only 141, so it's not great. So you have to look at maybe a bigger over, and like I said, over half the time for both these sides, 2/3 of the time for Union Berlin, their matches have had over 2.5 goals. I'll go for total goals over 2.5 at 231, which is also the 4-star smart bet if you scroll down another bit. So yeah, AI, I'm going to trust you again on this one.
All right, under 3.5 goals for Constantinos. Draw. For 𝐿𝐵𝐴𝐴, this is it for our Bundesliga show midweek games in Germany. Remember, guys, of course, you have the chance to place your bets or your tips in Oddspedia. You can post your tips and participate in our tipster competitions absolutely for free, and you have the chance to win some cash money. And there you go, also rivals, create your own league and play with your friends. I'm sure there should be some Bundesliga one already created. Ronan, safe bet?
My safe bet last week, I couldn't go for it because the odds were too low. I know Tom Rennie sometimes decides to go for ones that with lower odds. He says it's either going to happen or not. But if it's 115, I will not go for it as the safe bet. So I did not go for Bayern Munich last week at 115, but I'm going for it now at 130. Bayern Munich to win is my safe bet.
Well done, Ronan. This is the aim, going for 1-3, 1-5 as a safe bet. And also, Yoraka was correct. Probably the lowest odds in the channel history, but still correct since the games were postponed. The new one
Yeah, we had St. Pauli postponed, or Leipzig and Hoffenheim postponed. So Bayern Munich at 115 was the ACCA. That's what came in at 115. So this week's ACCA is Leipzig to win and Bayern Munich halftime, full time. So yeah, Bayern and Leipzig to win at 3:33. I think it's slightly wrong on the screen. That's Bayern to win, but it should be Bayern for that one. Yeah, 3:33. Yeah.
Well, Ronan, see you on Thursday. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye bye.
Cheers, guys.